evening, everybody. Welcome residents, welcome board members, welcome former board members, going to be a board member of some more. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Hello, how are you? December 17th, 2024. We're trying to get this done in 1 hour. We'll see. Tonight's meeting is an open meeting in accordance with New York State Public Open Meetings Law. We're live on Zoom and live from 557, which is what I would like to say now, because we say the community building so much. I'm just doing 557 from now on in the text. Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So if I say I'm going down to 557, it means here. All right. Because I was like, the community, it's just too much.
Too many letters.
Yeah. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Orange County DPW website, of course, through the BDL YouTube account. Quorum is a little complicated tonight, but it is and it's not. So just to read the technical part, board member roll call with currently a 4-member board. We would need 3 members are currently required in order to meet quorum. Myself, the chair, Christopher Dunn, I'm now serving I will be serving beginning of my second, the 3-year term, which begins on the 1st of January. Larry Weinberg.
Hello.
Is our vice chair. He will be beginning a 3-year term, a fresh term after landslide victory.
Yes. 3 more years.
3 more years of suffering this man. No.
Yeah. Helping the community.
And doing the thing and doing a great job at it. He's serving currently still as the vice chair, and his term will begin on the 1st. Jason Eunice, our secretary. He is currently in the he's in the 2nd, and he'll begin his 3rd year of his 3-year term, also on the 1st of 2025. Hello, Chrissy. And the second newly elected board member just entered, Chrissy Wilger. Your roll call is right now, so you can say hi.
Hi, guys, sorry.
It's all right, it's okay. So Chrissy was recently elected on the 10th. And she will be getting a 3-year term on also the 1st of the year with Larry. So they will both start fresh with 3-year terms. Now, technically, the Cornwall spot is vacant because the way the rules work is that Fred was appointed, and that appointment runs out on the Beaver Dam Lake election night. So as soon as that election is over, technically his appointment was over on the 10th of December. So we're in this funny little period where we currently only have 3 active members because Chrissy doesn't take her seat until the 1st, and Larry's okay because he's still a board member.
Carryover.
Yeah, he's a carryover. So sorry if that sounds like crazy and confusing. That's just the way it is. The single slot out of Blooming Grove, that would be Kevin Boyle. He was appointed, so he's currently not a board member. We believe he has interest to be reappointed. We will cross that bridge when we get to it in December. All right. Sorry for that long quorum introduction. Let's do the pledge, everybody.
Hey.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Did everybody stand up at home? Make you put your video on, like I used to tell my students during the pandemic. All right, did everybody get a chance to look at today's agenda?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to adopt tonight's proposed agenda?
Aye.
All right, is there a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion's been adopted. Just quick administrative points here. The last board meeting was November 13th. And thank you to the poll workers, Thomas Broidy and Sal Catania. I believe, were also the 2 gentlemen that were here in 2023. Yeah. And I think Thomas has been here a long time. Yeah, so you would recognize Thomas if for no other reason, but working on election day. So thank you, gentlemen. The election results, as we said, big thank yous to Larry Weinberg for rerunning and getting reelected. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you also, Chrissy Wilger, for stepping up and deciding to do this the
Can't wait.
full on. So she, like I said, she had an appointment for the last several months and now she's gonna join this team, full on. Okay. Larry, you might want to help with this. Thank you, Resident Events Committee. There's some people we probably want to thank for the festivities
Yes,
recently.
Yes, we'll cover a few of the events that are gonna be upcoming towards the end of today's meeting, but a big thank you to the people who were involved for our holiday event this year, and it was an incredible amount of effort and energies put in. Many people made donations of either product or just large donations of time. And while I don't want to forget anybody, so many people were involved, so if I miss you, I apologize, but huge thank yous to Rachel Z and Millie S, who really spearheaded the interior decorating and designs. The inside of the building was just unmatchable. We still have fantastic decor for those who are going to show up to our concert on the 22nd. DJ Freddie volunteered his time outside. A professional DJ volunteered out for 2.5 hours. Beautiful, with his wife Christine. It a lovely show. My new wife, Christina, she was here to do the hot cocoa station. Christine Little, just put in a huge amount of time, effort, energy, donated a ton of stuff. Eileen Wood, just here for days on end, blowing up the balloons and everything. Patty G. And we had, a couple of gentlemen who came and helped us put up the, Christmas tree outside, which was a real undertaking.
In the
It-
wind, right?
It was ice cold, windy and dark, and unfortunately, the tree was really hard to untangle. It took us legit 9 hours combined time just to get the tree up, but we did get it up.
It's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so thank you again, and Joe, Eve Lincoln, Jason, also Mike, Richard Santiago, and myself. So without further ado, we appreciate you. It's all really about community and bringing everybody together, but it can't be done alone. And man, you guys did a fantastic job. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, we really can't, thank you enough, so thank you. Thank you. And it's like wonderful to be in here, because I remember last year being just shocked and doing a meeting and like, oh, it's like, we should leave maybe some of this up a little bit, like,
Yes.
not, like, just leave the wreaths up or something, like, definitely the
Yes.
photos for
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yes.
It's kind of nice. All right, just have to say this, we say this all the time, official board member communications, BDL board@gmail.com is the official means. The Facebook postings we do are just supplemental because we're residents and any one of us could do it. You could do it too. If you ever have any questions and you do happen to know, you could ostensibly use the BDL residents to reach out, but we will not, as a board, ever answer you officially. But as a resident, we can kind of talk to you on private message. But please send emails. That would be the official way to reach out to us. Our website is the county website, Orange County Gov. Go to the government tab. Boards and commissions is the next tab, and then after that is Beaver Dam Lake District Board. All right. Interfaces with DPW, an in-person meeting unfortunately was not scheduled through November, December. And it was just something that just wasn't able to happen just with scheduling, but we look to do that this January. It's also really valuable to talk to the DPW face to face because there's just certain things in conversation 101 that you're going to get besides just sending emails back and forth, which all of you probably know that. Also, I would, I just want to put this in the agenda that the chair, I would like to request that a different board member also look to the future to try to come, because I would like to always keep the board moving and learning all the parts. It was one of the things that just because of my interest in Lake Health, I was sort of brought along when Walter Blos and Eric Dahl were going to these meetings, and I would call in from my job just to be there with the commissioner and the deputy commissioner at the time. And I think I just learned a lot, and it's sort of what springboarded me into all this. So I would just like to invite any future board member to come to those meetings. Now, keep in mind, it only can be one because we have a quorum issue, because the commissioner is also a board member. And if we add them into quorum, then it becomes an official meeting, which means that's be public. So this is meant to be a closed session meeting that's non-quorum. And this is something that this board has been doing. And before our board, with Wally especially and Erica, That had been happening since the dam was built, and quarterly meetings. They have 4 a year, and we'd like to try to keep up that pace. We didn't get 4 in this year. We got 3 in.
Mhm.
They were valuable, but we'd like to keep it going. And it's probably something that this board is going to have to initiate, to be truthful.
Right.
I don't think DPW, because DPW, I guess, trust us. I'll take it as they trust us. I'll take it as they send us communications from time to time, but things keep moving. And if we really want to move things forward and expedite things, I think it's up to us to approach the DPW and make these meetings, get these meetings going. So on to something that has been talked about for this whole year. Former labor, well, the position is actually called DPW Labor 1. It's the BDL, known as the BDL maintenance position. Tom Lark he retired. We haven't had anybody in this position for about
8 months.
7-8 months, yeah. And in that time, we've received at least 12 applications, thankfully. The board has been looking at the applications, and we are getting very close. There have been a few applicants that we have reached out to. So I will leave it there. We look to hire somebody shortly. So that would be good news. The job, once again, it's 19 hours a week, and yeah, so we look to do that soon. Jumping down, just want to kind of put this out there, and this is part of the reason. Further clarification had been requested of the commissioner regarding the assistance, because in the prior 2 meetings, we did ask the DPW to assist us possibly with the interviews. And that was maybe promised, and then it just wasn't happening. So this was the official statement, the latest official statement from the DPW. It was in an email on 11/21 from Mary Heifman, which is the secretary to Eric Denega. Quote, "It is the board's responsibility to review, set up interviews, and select a candidate. Once a candidate is selected, simply let me know who it is, and I will proceed with the hiring process and work out the start date." So as mentioned at the last meeting, to protect the members of this board and myself, we were looking to get more of an HR guidance, because most of everybody probably knows, certain questions that they're asked, you could be breaking the law. You may not even know. So we don't want to put anybody in jeopardy of incorrectly hiring or courting a possible employee. But it was just a bit frustrating, to be honest. The board and myself were a bit frustrated how much time has gone on, and we weren't getting too much guidance outside of what I just read to you. So that's where we are. We are getting close. So please be patient, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're just about ready. We're going to bring somebody on board. Thank you to all the board members and other volunteers who have filled in the voids during Tom's absence. Most of our community is not going to even recognize that we haven't had a maintenance man because we're still getting the job done.
Yeah.
But on the interior, there are things that really are going by the wayside that normally our maintenance man would take care of, that others just don't have the time or the resources to do. So we're looking forward to filling that position, of course. But again, thank you to those who have volunteered to continue to keep our reserves clean and pick up the sticks and all those kinds of things. So we do look forward to closing the door on this pretty soon.
And just to cover something I mentioned to the board prior to the meeting, Fred, you can speak whenever you want. So can Chrissy, of course. They're technically not board members yet, or not. It's because of what we explained with quorum. So everybody that's here, please chime in as if you would. It's a very intimate setting here. We don't even have chairs set up tonight. So thank you for joining us. Ms. Wilger, would you like to read the safety portion?
Sure. Please report all district and town emergencies to 911. As for the safety on the ice out there, we do not test for thickness. There are areas on the lake that are going to have thinner ice, so caution is advised anytime you enter the frozen lake. Ice thickness is not uniform on any body of water and can vary day to day for multiple reasons, including air temperature, water temperature, sunlight, wind, etc. So it's not feasible to determine ice conditions in every part of the lake on any given day. Residents are responsible for determining safe ice conditions themselves and their accompanied guests. Please use safe please practice safe, I don't know.
It's okay. Please, it's been a long time. Please be safe. Please be safe.
Also note there are no gas powered motors permitted on the lake, so that means ATVs and otherwise, not just in the water, that means on top of the frozen ice as well. If you do see anybody on snowmobiles or ATVs, please call 911. The board is not a security force. Emailing the board will simply delay the process, as we will contact the proper authorities, and residents will be notified when the Salisbury Mills Fire Department is planning to conduct ice rescue drills.
All right, sorry, I put Chrissy on the spot and just kind of had to read a little bit of my notes, and of course, I would, you know, hopefully be able to speak it without trying to figure it out. So good job. You figured out pretty much most of it. Just that the whole gas powered engines, that's also a county law. No, that doesn't necessarily mean if you're out there, people are gonna all of a sudden start calling 911. We're specifically talking about ice safety. But if it's thin ice and there are open areas out there on the lake, as there have been, because there's some areas where we get flows, just the current out there, if the water is still coming in from the north and the tributaries, there's areas of ice that are going to be thinner than if we were at a stagnant level where the water was not going over the spillway. So most of the winter, we still get enough water in to keep everything moving enough. So there's areas that, unless it's brutally cold for at least 7 days, there's areas that are definitely not safe if you're on a machine. And that doesn't, just because you made it through last time, it doesn't mean you're not going to break through this time.
And again, there seems to always be a lot of discussion every year on some of the open forums, like it's not us that is
Yeah.
saying you can't bring your ATV or anything out there. That comes from the county.
Yeah, and it's not about us not liking the good old days, you know, it has nothing to do with that. So just because you rolled around here on a snowmobile in 1972 and nobody cared, if you had a Budweiser in your hand and you were flying around, that's great. But there's a lot more people here, and you have to realize that our fire chief lives pretty much on the lakes, and the other side of the road, and he himself sees it, and they train extensively on ice rescues, in water rescues, dry suits, putting their life in risk. We actually had last year or the year before, we had a family go in, right? Couple kids, a father,
Yeah, 2 years ago.
right? A dog, I think, at the same time. I think they got the dog out quickly, but yeah, and it happens when you don't think it's going to happen. So just please understand that as we get when the ice starts to build up, you'll hear us kind of parroting what we just said.
Right.
But no, we don't check the ice. The county does not check the ice. New Windsor, Cornwall, nor Blooming Grove check the ice. So it is at your own risk, but understand who else you are risking by doing that, and they have to come and rescue you. It's the same as hiking in the winter and not having proper equipment. Okay, dam update. The drawdown, basically for cleanup purposes. We didn't get a chance to do this last year. It's tentatively scheduled for the first week in 25. Last year, they were trying to do it during Christmas. The DPW engineers gave us that window, but you may remember from Christmas on, what happened? Rain and melting. It was really wet for weeks, and we just couldn't even get ahead of it. So if they opened up the gates, it just would have kept filling back up. So we didn't even get a chance to do one last year. So it's been a couple years, and it would be a great opportunity for not only at reserves, but lakefront owners to rake their leaves, clean their bottoms up a little bit, because if we drop it about 18 inches to 2 feet, we should easily be able to go out pretty far and get in a lot of nutrients, those same nutrients that feed what, everybody? Our algae, right? The algae in the summer. So pull it out of the equation, and hopefully we don't have to treat as much like we didn't have to this year, because we had good weather. The email from James Rugnetta, the principal engineer, he said that we can do this, but we request that homeowners monitor the lake elevation and let us know when to close the gate. We would open the gates only a little to drain the 18 to 24 inches. It would most likely take about a day or so. We also would like to start this on a Monday or a Tuesday. So the way it works is January 6th is a Monday. So maybe January 6th or 7th, we'll let you know, stay tuned. And he just said, we can look into doing this in early January. All right. And everything else is redundant. Anybody have anything else with that?
We've covered a swim.
Sure, but I'm gonna jump in before you're done, so go ahead.
Okay, all right, so the swim beach updates. So off-season improvements, we're constantly working to improve the reserves as a board. It's just a little bit extra that we like to put in there to improve the quality of life and again, your experience as a private resident. We did put in a nice paver base around the entire beach. We removed part of that paver base temporarily while we installed new sand and expanded the beach surface because the beach was so crowded this year. At some points, people were on the grass and we love to see that it's crowded, but we did have the opportunity to expand. So when the better weather comes back around spring or so, we will put some new sod and some new grass seed down where needed. We have ordered an outdoor foot wash station, which will be installed for the 2025 season. So you won't have to go with the filthy sand coated feet into your car and end up with a big mess. So that was a suggestion by a few of our residents and we were able to follow through on that. So that'll be a nice addition. Also, one of our board members who's really great with their horticulture did recommend some native trees that we would put along the driveway here on reserve number 4 or 557 Shore. And we're going to follow through on that. It'll be aesthetics, it will improve the eye appeal of the reserve, and it will also help with a little bit of drainage regarding some of the water that cascades down during storms. We have RQ in for 4 new swim buoys. It's already been submitted to the DPW, and when purchasing reopens for January, we're hopeful they'll be approved so that we can hit the ground running for the summer season of 2025.
Thank you, Larry. And that's just something that every year the budgets are frozen, usually about mid-October, right? October-ish, end October, right before Halloween. And it's just so that they can get all the books straight for the year before the new budgets are open. And I was told by purchasing that we would be able to jump right in 1st of January, which is pretty nice. And we have things budgeted for next year that we also want to do. Also keep in mind the board, we try to shape how the money's spent. This money's earmarked for certain projects, but the DPW ultimately, they are the ones like, so for instance, if we put in a rec for something to purchase at a certain store, they may say, no, we're gonna go look somewhere else and we're gonna try to acquire it possibly if it's cheaper, that, that sort of thing. So we don't always get choices even as to where we want to purchase, unless it's from a county contracted source. So anyway, so swim buoys are coming, but it was something that I was just thinking about myself. And I'd like to know what the board thinks. So the carpet in here is getting on, and we do have more functions in here. I was curious as to what everybody thought. I would actually like to remove the carpet and put in a good laminate, but a quality high traffic. And then, we could always put down rugs and mats and such, but I think it'd be easier to clean and it might brighten this place up a little
I don't
bit.
know what's under here.
I'm excited.
I think it's cement. And that means we could also put a bit of a sponge layer, and
Waterproof barrier.
it'd be a better, yeah, and it would help for the heating in here. So just something that we can think about for the next couple months and
Sure.
decide on, spring,
One
summer.
thing you might want to consider is that during the summer, people are coming in here with wet feet.
Yep.
And cold, and with
Yeah.
the carpeting, it's gonna have a chance, I'm surprised we don't have it already for a mold buildup.
Yeah.
Good point, and we could, this building isn't used like on a daily basis, so things definitely probably dry up in here. And there are a lot of runner mats that we
Yeah.
try to put down and,
The AC also takes humidity out.
yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. But yeah, so it's just something that I think we may talk about. There's enough money in the general funds that we didn't earmark for this, but it's something that it is a rectangular room. The install, I've even talked to some people in the community about it that would be willing to. I think the one gentleman I just met the other night that helped with the lights. About if we possibly were to purchase, maybe we can install it. Do we want to do that? Maybe we have to go the other route of having an installer do it. We can find out those, but I just wanted to throw that out there as something. So does that sound like something that we want to at least
I think for
investigate?
aesthetics, it would be lovely.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Or throw windows into there.
One of the hard parts is taking up your carpet.
Quite.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think it's glued down.
Not just the
Yeah.
shades, but the windows themselves.
Yeah.
I think one is actually broken.
With pressure. I don't think it'd be hard to remove this carpet. I
Okay.
think
No, not at all. These are carpet
Right.
squares. Yeah.
They're just carpet squares or?
Yeah.
Depends how much you glue down.
I was gonna say, yeah, we'll be busting them through. So, hey, volunteer opportunities, everybody, for demo. At 557. Another little thing was, we talked about fencing out front on the lakefront. There's expensive ways to do it. There's cheaper ways to do it. There's ways that look better. If we were still heading towards let's improve the aesthetics around here. I know originally I had spoken about like almost a gated system. And I had to kind of think about, why is the fence out there to begin with? It's mostly to keep away the ducks at night and the geese. So you don't need Fort Knox. You don't need an iron gate to keep, because regardless, the signs are out there, no swimmers, no boats are supposed to land. So if the beach is ported off literally, where no boats could ever land, and the signage is out there, the fences could be something, and I think I talked to Jason once about this, about maybe doing a wooden split rail. That would be a cheaper way, not the whole way across, just the grass front. The beach section, I think we still would need something that rolls up, because you think about it, lifeguards are constantly
Right.
opening and closing.
Yes.
Not to besmirch them, they're teenagers, they're done at 7, they out. They're not exactly looking, so it has to be easy, it has to be secure. So I know from looking at it, if we were to replace just the sections in front of the grass and put maybe a split rail fence, could even put a mesh wire in the back of it that would catch leaves, that could be a debris catcher. You wouldn't see it. There's even a few residents on Shore Drive that have this, where you'll look and they have a mesh going through their split rail,
Right.
but you don't really see the mesh. You see the split rail and it looks nice. So just if anybody had any comment on that, any ideas, we're open to it, because we're that kind of board. So that's just something else that I think we're gonna investigate in future meetings and bring up. Okay, all right, so it's not all government, but we do have to get into some of that soon. Last one, this is where we reached out. We had a member of the community reach out about ideas about how to build new signs and the information signs. And then through discussion, something that personally I think would be very aesthetically pleasing, would also keep what we put up on the board, is one of those A roof kind of Appalachian Trail, end of the trailhead, signs. So it's not just a front kiosk that's out in the weather. It actually has a roof, which would then be a bit of a protection. If we want to go really crazy, some of them even have almost like bus stop seats in the front and the back, and they can be double-sided. So that's just something else that we've been kind of discussing. The members that wanted to build and fund this also seemed to like the idea. So just letting everybody in on something and behind the scenes, that we're looking to maybe put some signs that would parrot certain things that the board does, community news, of course. And an important document like Local Law 8 that I think personally should be posted 24/7 in the community. And I think a map of the community would also be very useful, showing where all the reserves are, and just the basic rules. So as you're taking your walks in the nicer weather and walking your dogs, you could stop by the sign that maybe is at Reserve 1, or the sign that's at Reserve 5, or the sign that's at Reserve 8. And it would just be another way to keep information out there on a 24/7 basis, and then also keep it protected. So that's just something else that we have spoken about, but
So if I understand right, you're talking about placing these signs at the reserves,
correct.
not like all the positions that the A-frames are positioned now.
So some of the A-frames, and one of the pushes was to get the A-frames
Right,
at reserves. So this is kind of killing two birds. Now, this doesn't mean that the A-frames won't get used, but they would still get used at times. But if we're talking about something like this, if everybody can kind of see, and of course I'll make it look nicer, put a little architecture in there. So you can see that, some type of a sign, that's that style, if you know what I mean. If you've gone hiking, DEC signs, have those.
Where you pick up the map or whatever it is. We just want
Sign
to be
in.
sure it's waterproof. The
Yep.
board, into the area where we post stuff isn't gonna be destroyed by the weather. And obviously we want there to be a universal lock so that we can all, enter and put things in, avoiding vandalism.
Jason.
Is there a way we could upgrade the already existing green reserve signs to that design?
Yeah, absolutely. Those metal signs, I mean, I don't know if some people I've heard more talk about them being tired of looking at them because they're just green. and
Nobody pays
white.
attention to them anyway.
They almost look like they do the job, and I hear what you're saying, but how big are they? 3 by 3 foot square metals in a frame? They do the job, but and it's true, Fred, if you go to different reserves, some of them say different things. Does
Yeah.
anybody know which ones say different? I have to be hard pressed because if you remember, Reserve 8 was a beach at one time. It says something about lifeguards being present, like
Oh,
there's
really?
harkening back to 30 years ago, right? So there's certain things that are a little outdated, people.
Refresh.
Yeah, we need a refresh. I think, yeah, we certainly could, and I think those signs shouldn't go in the garbage. Plus they're metal, and we could probably use that metal. I'm a junker, so. But I think that's a good point. So just to give everybody an idea for 2025, outside of some of the things that we've been talking about, we definitely are trying to keep the aesthetics going and the security of the reserves. And also, as you remember, the police department actually liked the idea of us going with the gate, some type of a gate closure system on 8 and 2. So that's something that we have to,
Amen.
we have to get on, which would probably mean that we have to get a schedule. We'd have to be able to open and close it at a certain time.
I'm willing to.
Yep, and thank you, Fred. And also our DPW worker, whoever that may be, maybe can assist with the opening in the morning. We can assign somebody for a week to close at night. Because technically the reserves are supposed to be closed within what, 1 hour?
1 hour.
1 hour of dark.
1 hour before and after.
Yeah, right. So that means right now reserves are closed by right at this time of year by 6 at the latest.
Right.
So nobody really needs to be out there anyway. It's been that cold. Okay, so anyway, moving on. I did mention, but I'm gonna skip point B on that. There's just examples of things that would go into the sign. All right, official board communications, the email for Larry Weinberg to the residents that you actually put out. Do you want to mention about that, just to say what you put out?
Yeah, just,
It was on the 9th. by the way.
yeah, on occasion, we'll utilize our email to the community residents to give you a overview of what's coming up over the next month. So that way, if you either miss a board meeting, you don't see an A-frame sign, or you don't hear the scuttle out there, the email is our official form of communication out to all our residents. So, because December was such a jam-packed month, I put together an email with all of the bullet points of what would be happening for the rest of December. Hopefully that was well received and most people took a look at it and were able to incorporate those things into their daily calendars. Again, we don't want to surprise people with last minute stuff like, oh, we have an election coming up. So we like to at least give you the opportunity to plan to be participant, to plan to be here for the voting. So that is part of the utilization. Not only are we going to send out things like, oh, we have the board meeting coming up, or there's other communications that are critical for you to know, but on occasion, there's going to be those miscellaneous emails that are more information based.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
All right, jumping down to point 7, lake health treatment. So, we had Walter Bloss, as everyone remembers, former board member. He sort of has been a bit of a liaison and a focus person helping with pond and lake connection and treatments through the summer. So you can also thank him next time about our wonderful water clarity for the beach in 2024. Just to double check that we both did this on our own separately. We both separately sent emails to DPW within, I think, the same 2 days to ask that make sure to double check that the contract with Pond and Lake Connection was good, as we believe, through 2026. And did they get the execution order ready to go? Because our applicator, James Gorman, has to put in a series of permits through the DEC to apply the chemicals, and that process begins in midwinter, so that everything could be approved for us to apply chemicals when we need in, say, April or May. All right. There's nothing to report with lake testing. Fred, do you want to say anything about the DEC grant that we haven't said, or?
Well, I think people should know that I have received an unofficial statement that it's closed, that we have completed our paperwork and that we've done everything that we need to do. But a constant frustration is that I've been trying to contact Vicky from the DEC about what we can when we can expect reimbursement, or what is the process for it, and I'm getting no contact at all from Vicky on this. So I will keep trying. And what I may do is with the next DPW meeting to see if we can find out who she reports to and go one step higher. Because I mean, she's been helpful when she decides she wants to communicate. But as far as we're concerned, the project is done. We're looking at approximately $87,000 worth of reimbursement, which I think will go into our surplus fund.
At the very least, it would, yeah.
Yes, and so at this point, everything is kind of in a fog as far as what's going to happen. And it's all based on lack of communication from the DEC.
You know, Fred's been carrying this football for a while. A couple other members before had been really frustrated as to how long it was taking to get going. We've former board members have put in for extensions for this DEC invasive species grant, and we are on the goal line, and it is so frustrating. And Fred is probably the most frustrated because he has been doing all the communication and legwork this past 2 years, really. So.
Well,
Thank
it
you.
had to be done, but as I said, it could be a lot easier if people would just communicate.
Here, okay. External sewer municipality updates. I'm just curious, does anyone have anything from your respective towns? Anything that's important?
On
Yeah.
Cornwall Social, there is no real update right now. Last month, I did report back that they are waiting on the dry hydrant to be built and the inspection by the Army Corps of Engineers before they can continue on to along the next processing of their work plans. So they're kind of stalled out at this point. I haven't got an update through December.
They installed their septic, right?
Not positive about that.
Okay.
But I know that in order for them to continue to do improvements to the buildings and get further towards any of the next parts of their planning, that they have to have this dry hydrant in place.
If I can ask for clarification, when you say a dry hydrant, what is it tapped into?
I believe it's more of like a well or a dugout in order to
It's not,
capture
it's in
water.
case anybody's thinking, it doesn't go into the lake.
No, I think it's
Doesn't
fire
drop in the lake.
prevention as far as having enough water on
Sure.
site. That could be my
I
understanding.
just didn't know what the source of the water would be.
I believe it's collected over
Okay.
time. Again, my natural resources, I would presume, but not my particular area of expertise. But I do tap into one of our political comrades and compatriots in New Windsor in order to get this information. I just didn't really see much need for any additionals, but something was also posted recently by another resident regarding the bid to redo the culvert and the railing over
Oh,
on
right.
Beaverbrook and on Beaverbrook and Lakeside.
Which is crosses our main tributary.
Right, so that's where our water was coming in. There's a $640,000 bid that was approved. I don't know the timing of the work. I guess the project could be up to $1 million, but that is has been approved through the New Windsor town. So that is something that will be up and coming. I would presume that once that hits the ground, it won't be, but like 2025, it will be finished. That's about all I have.
Yeah, because they did a project that was bigger scale on Lake what was that, 2 years ago now, almost 2 years, year and a half ago. So,
They finished it fast
yeah, they
at
did,
Donnie's property.
that's right.
A resident comment says that, they poured concrete for Hennings today.
Oh, yeah,
Today.
okay, separate to the foundation in other places, you can, you can come on, who is that, is that Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah, what do you know? Unless you don't want to, it's okay, if you don't wanna get on the mic, sorry to put you on the spot, but I was curious if you knew what the concrete was for. All right,
Well, all I know is that they had a truck there today and it was pouring. I'm not sure what they were pouring.
all right. Well,
They've
that's-
obviously have had a lot of equipment going there
Yes,
the last couple of months, and so they're making strides.
all right, thank you very much, Philip. Okay, all right, on to the big ticket for the night, so. Before the board meeting, I'd asked the board, I said, do you want to do this in read each bullet, or do we just want to read what's new? So we had mentioned in the last two meetings that the resident permit program, which is a document, that's made of policies from local law 8. So local law 8 governs, this board governs the lands that we kind of pay attention to around the lake. It's a county law. It's from 1991. There may even be some things that are little out of date, but it is what we go by. So all our policies are made from that. And there is currently a 3-page document that's posted on our website, on the county website. Once again, it's called Beaver Dam Lake Resident Permit Program, and it has 3 sections. One is general policies, the other is boats, and the other is, motor vehicles and trailers, and then the third section is boats. So we've been talking for quite some time, and you've seen some signs in the community in the last 2 years saying that a new boat policy and sticker program is going to be happening. That is happening very soon. We now have the stickers, we now have what we need to start re-registering, and it will be a bit of a painstaking process. We're going to have to do probably several either live events, or whether those people, new residents and old, can come and re-register their equipment. The catch is that your stickers will not have an expiration date. They're blue in color. The boat one is predominantly white with a blue backing, and the vehicle one is predominantly blue with a white backing. They look very similar. There is also going to be a alternative option to have a hang mirror tag. That is to pretty much call the bluff of those people that refuse to put on a sticker. Because if you don't have your hang tag on your mirror going forward, or you don't have a sticker at all, that is just when local law enforcement can be called. Both chiefs deputy chief at New Windsor and the chief of police at Cornwall are in alignment with this practice also. Go ahead, Fred.
Just an addition, which you were probably going to mention anyway, on these hanger tags.
Yes.
I know people are thinking, oh, good, I can put them on any vehicle I want to. Wrong. Each hanging tag will have the registration or the license number of that vehicle. So if it gets inspected by a local authority, it better match up with your license plate, or a summons will be issued.
Correct, thank you, yes, and that is actually, that is one of the lines that we will read, that is going to be added to this policy document tonight, that the board is going to either approve or table for more work. My hope as chair is that it gets passed tonight, but if it does not, we will go back and look at it. And then once it's done, we will pass it on to the commissioner of the DPW, and basically to get the blessing. And just so you know, this is not something that needs to go to the county legislature, as has been told to myself by Eric Denega, our commissioner, because this is a document that has been made from local law 8. It was already in function before the board came here. We're just making some changes to it. And if anybody happens to have an application on hand at home, if you were going to register your boats or your cars, there is a section in there that says that you are agreeing to follow the policies of now and of the future. If anything has been changed, anything has been altered, anything gets updated by the board, you must also follow that as well, or bring your sticker back torn up and hand it to Fred. Because that is also something else that when you move, you're not supposed to hand your sticker to, and we've had this happen, hand it to the new owners, the new tenants. Because that sticker should match the license tag. And I think we're also going to attempt the practice of putting the license plate number on the sticker as well. Knowing that these stickers are, and we ordered a lot. We have a lot. So knowing that these stickers, yeah, we did. Which luckily the box got here. I don't know what happened, but it was wet and damaged, and luckily everything was here. So, anybody have anything? So further ado, I just want to read the new sections, and then what we can do. Do we want to read them all and then do a vote, or do we want to vote on each one as we go? I'm willing to, I'm open. Do we want to vote on each one, or do we want to do them? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 changes.
I would just read them and then we'll vote, because we've kind of talked about them,
Read them all?
past meetings, yeah.
Anybody agree?
Just read the change.
Read them all and then we'll,
Yeah.
okay, and we can discuss. So this is, all right. So anyway, Beaver Dam Lake Resident Permit Program, general practices. None of the first 9, 10, 11, 12 face a change. So we actually go on to except. I stand corrected. There was an email address correction in 2 places. Because the former email address, yes. So number 2A, applications may be obtained upon written request of the district via US mail and or email request sent to, and it's bdlboard@gmail.com. It actually had Beaver Dam Lake, which is a former non-used email address. And that's actually up right now, and it's incorrect right now. So we just caught that, to be honest. So like I said, it's an older document. When you get to section 2 is where we're going to right now, motor vehicles and trailers. If we go down to exceptions. So just to start this off, motor vehicles and trailers. Now, the first one I'll read and then I'll jump to the others. All motor vehicles operated and parked in district facilities must display a valid and current Beaver Dam Lake resident permit that has been issued by the district for that vehicle. We just spoke about that. So now jumping down to number 3, one of the ones that we want to add. This is about the rear view mirror hang tag. If a rear view mirror hanging placard has been issued, it must be installed correctly in the front window of the vehicle in full view with the New York State tag number clearly written on the front. So that one, anybody have anything to add about that? We'll just do it this way and then we'll vote on them, okay? If anybody has anything, because we can make edits right now. If we want to finish this up tonight, we can do it this way too, because this is really the last bit that we have to get.
Not that it's easy.
Go ahead.
Not that it's easily done, but, and not that we were looking to be the enforcers or any of that, but if this, extra level this layer that we're putting in to protect the people who feel that they could be followed home or harassed or however, if this extra piece is not taken with the respect and the kid gloves that we need, there could be an opportunity where we may ask you for your tag back.
Correct.
Okay? We're not gonna break your window and take the tag back.
Correct.
But the point is if we see that somebody's tag is being utilized in the wrong car, we're gonna try to void that tag off, and you may lose your privileges for getting a new tag, that's all.
Very good point, Mr. Weinberg. Yes. Second. Okay, moving on, and that was all that was left in section 2. So now this is the big one, boats. Number 1, this is an addition. The board assumes the authority to ask residents to remove all vessels during winter weather months, which would be December 1st through April 1st, or whenever it is deemed necessary by the board. So does anybody have any comments on that? We want to make a change.
What would be the reasoning behind that?
Okay, so landscaping, especially in the spring, if the boats are still there, They have collected leaves all winter long. They've collected sticks all winter long. And also, it's a haven for other animals to basically chew away at the grounds, dig the grounds.
Groundhogs, making.
Yeah.
Making trip hazards.
Because we all know, yeah, trip hazard, that's a good point, because we all know anybody, and we've all pretty much now at this point looked at the boats at the reserves in the last several years. We know what's underneath, there's always holes, and this is keeping them protected, and they're gonna live there, and they're gonna dig. And that's one of the reasons why the ground is so uneven at 2 and 3, which is something that we do want to attack.
Now, it states that the board assumes the authority to ask residents to remove.
Mhm.
So to avoid confusion, it's not saying that residents are
Must.
going to be required each winter to remove their boats. Is it or is it not?
So do we feel that this needs to be tabled and the language needs to be rewritten? Because I mean, to be truthful, I don't want to spend too much on each one. If we think this is
Okay.
not a good one, do
I
we
think
want?
it's okay, because
But
I'm
I'm just-
saying we
How
have the
firm,
authority to
how firm
ask.
are we on?
No, that's all I'm saying
right.
is to avoid confusion.
Right.
A resident's gonna say, oh, I have to remove my boat every winter, but that's not the way it stays here.
Right, understood,
We have the
Understood.
authority to request.
correct,
So I just wanna make it clear for the residents what they're gonna be required to do.
correct. So one of the things, Chrissy, you first, and then I'll.
I know, I was just saying, to me, I feel like it's pretty clear, it just says we have the permission to request that you're.
Right, but
But we're
I
not saying
just
you
don't
have
want
to
them to
agree.
think they're gonna have to remove it
Yeah.
without anybody saying anything.
But keep in mind, the law is the law. If you go to local law 8, it says that the board and the commissioner or the commissioner's designee has the authority at any moment to ask anyone
Yes.
for any reason to remove.
Clear, very
Yeah.
clear. But
Fred
I've
is
had
asking
it
whether
said, I've
people
had
are
it
mandated
people
to
say
take
to
them
me,
home.
does that mean I have to take my boat off in the winter? And I said, as far as I know, no.
Until you were asked to.
Yeah, I don't think that's
It's
right.
just redundancy.
Yeah,
Of local law 8.
and I don't think this is, I don't think it's completely relevant to this policy.
Okay.
So. Point made, point taken, but I think for this.
All right, so they're not gonna be required unless something comes up with the particular boat.
Right, but if. Winter is the thing that comes up, we just might be
We
asked.
could make
Yeah.
that request every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we choose to?
Yes, if there's
Okay.
2 boats on the reserve. Maybe not a problem. 28 boats,
I'm thinking
Probably
I'm
a
thinking of Reserve 2. Where there's what, maybe 12 boats down there.
yes.
So
So,
racks might make it easier for this cleanup.
which was part of the design in the future, and which is part of the reason for making the racks how they are and raising them and such, because we did want it to help. So, go ahead. No, this is why we're here.
Adding more racks, that's the other reserve,
Yes,
so.
this was always going to be a messy meeting.
Yeah.
This, I always knew this was gonna be a messy meeting because we're all gonna have our feelings on it and we're also going to have our interpretations on it. So part of the reason why of taking the racks and changing them was to assist in the cleanliness, the
Yeah.
critters, the landscaping,
The aesthetics.
the aesthetics, to make something look nice again.
Sure.
Instead of just all over the place. So. Can we continue?
Yes. Continue.
All right, point 3, sorry. Policy 3A, a board member can either be present when the sticker is fixed. This is going to Fred's comments many months ago, so I'll start over. A board member can either be present when the permit is fixed. Actually, it should
This is
say
for boats
affixed.
now, yeah.
Or the resident owner must email bdlboard@gmail.com a picture of the sticker attached to the registered vessel within 3 days of the issue. Now, that was a comment that I brought upon back in October because I thought it's 2024. Everyone is living by their apps and their social media, and this would be a way that you can easily still prove that your sticker is on your boat. Because that sticker should be sitting next to what? The hull number. You should have it in the frame, and I don't believe that anybody on the board would think that you're pulling a fast one.
I'm just thinking we should just have the picture regardless.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's an item of record.
Which is something we could add and at any.
As opposed, or if one of us were to do it, we would take the picture, just so there's a record.
Mhm.
along with their permit application.
Anybody from Rockland County that, and I say this one every meeting, anybody from Rockland County that wants to go to get a 7 Lakes Drive, any of those lakes, permit, you have to bring your vessel, the flotation device, everything they ask you to Tairati Circle with the rangers between this hour and this hour, and they put it on the boat. You don't do it. So just understand that this practice is not something that we have come up with. This is something to verify that the sticker is going where it's intended. So do we want to leave that one alone, or do we want to come back to it?
It's fine.
Are we gonna create a file on the computer here for all the video evidence to log? Right? Like all photos go into
Yeah,
a
it should
file.
be with the permit list.
Our bookkeeping should easily be able to add that to the list, photo.
To be
Right.
discussed.
Yeah, I mean, either way, we would easily be able to have a folder of the photos, and the photos themselves will be labeled with the owner's name and the ID number of the vessel. Even if it was separate from the work people. Okay, number 4, one little tiny thing, only boats powered by wind, manual, human power, and small electric trolling motors. It used to say trawling, right? That means fishing. Trolling motors are permitted on district facilities or on the waters of Beaver Dam Lake. Point 6, well, when that heat goes off, it just sounds so, yeah. Point 6, boats, this is an addition to an existing point here. 6, boats may be stored on district reserves 2, 3, 5 through 8 only in designated storage areas and when storage racks are provided. Now, the older language always said boat storage, launching, and landing is not permitted on Reserve 4. I wanted to add the beach or on the dam property. Notice, I will note that we took off 1. There have been no boats stored while I've been living in 10 years in Beaver Dam Lake. I have never once had anybody say, boy, I wish I could store my boat at 1. And to be honest, I think 1 has the potential to be beautified and shouldn't be cluttered up. Anybody have anything to say about the taking away of 1?
Nope.
Or anything else in that 1?
Too small. Reserve 1.
Reserved 1, too small. I agree. Okay, all right, so we're gonna say that's good.
Directly across from the on the lake.
It's the shallow portion to the east.
The one that everything flows into.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep, it's,
and if you walk by in the summer, you can smell it.
Yep.
yes, to the end, yeah, when it's not raining. All right, these are the quick ones. Number 7, boats may never be secured to a tree or fence.
Agreed.
Okay, number 8, pedal boats that are left without a rain cover or footwell cover for more than 7 days will be removed by the district board to prevent the growth of mosquito larvae.
Yep.
Anybody have any comment about the 7 days? No, good, all right, I think that's a fair number.
7 days.
You would get rid of it or keep it?
How do we
How do we
document?
document it?
Correct, yeah, that's a good, well,
Like,
we could do, any one of us could either take a picture one day, come back a week later, right? I mean, I think 7 days, I came up with it because I thought it was a safe
Yeah.
amount of time rather than saying 60 days or 30 days, but then that's
too
good,
long.
good point.
Is this a fairly easily attainable item?
Yeah, it's like $30 to $40 on Amazon.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's soft ones and
Okay.
some models actually, you could buy it as an accessory and it's hard and it fits and it molds and it drops right in.
You go in there and prevent the water from.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if you put a tarp, the tarp's only gonna work if it's taut. If the tarp falls in, now it's redundant and it's collecting water. So, yeah, we're gonna have to kind of give ourselves a little bit of a job and making sure that these footwells are covered in a healthy way.
does the DEC fine people for stagnant water, and what is their standard?
It is, yeah, you're supposed to, I think there's supposed to be a certain amount of time that it's allowed to be there. But I think we know the DEC is so overrun.
Yes, but what is the DEC
The health
standard?
department.
Good-
That should be whatever the standard is.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and maybe we could circle back on this. And I'm starting to feel like maybe we should do one more rewrite and like a quick one. We'll see how we feel at the end. But I think that ours is being maybe even more stringent than the DEC's based on things I've read in the past. If anybody knows that happens to be in the audience, there's only 5 of you left, 4 of you left, chime in. But yeah, is the DEC's policy more stringent than ours. I don't think so at the moment. Jumping down to 14, the old language had boats that are found to be unseaworthy, unsafe, and stored on district facilities outside of designated storage areas may be relocated, removed, or disposed by the district at the boat owner's expense. That was always there. They actually were supposed to pay for it. What we would like to add is boats that are found to be unseaworthy, unsafe, left in a way that they may collect rainwater, stored on the ground, or stored on district facilities outside. So it's those 3 points of designated storage areas may be relocated, removed, or disposed of by the district at the boat owner's expense. That one's wordy. Anybody, does that make,
I think
is that
so.
clear enough? I did want to be redundant about the rainwater.
But left in the water. Didn't we have 2 runaway boats recently?
Yeah.
Well, that's good, it's obvious. it's
Well,
gonna
that would be outside the designated storage areas.
Yes.
So I think we're covered. Okay, so that's good. 14, all right, 15, moving on. Boats must be stored on racks or taken back home when not in use. I left that
Is it
short.
safe to, say that people shouldn't stack boats on top of other people's belongings? Like just
Write it
everything
down.
left on a
That sounds like
rack,
something we could add. That
right?
sounds like,
Like this, these-
keep in mind, we can also make that another revision that we do later. That would be far faster. And we
Yeah,
could do that
yeah.
again in like March or April.
Just
before the
saying the
boat season.
dominoes, people stacking, like I didn't have
Alright.
the room on the rack, and then I decided to flip my boat over on top of Mr. Smith's. And then it sat here for a year, and
No
Mr. Smith's
stacking.
boat has a hole in it, and it's our, it's your responsibility now, right?
Yep. No stacking of boats on others. All right, we're gonna add that one in. That's gonna be
I
version.
would also say too, just another thought, going back to that, I mean, if you're leaving your boat on lake property and something happens to it, that's your, the risk.
Yeah, we're there.
And that's in the law.
Okay.
That, yeah, so we're
There.
skipping over a
not
lot.
responsible.
Yeah, that is definitely in the law, probably 2 times at least, about, because it clearly states in local law 8 that it is a complete privilege to
Mhm.
store private goods on the reserves, and they are not responsible in any way. If tree lands on it, somebody steals it, it blows into the lake, it sinks to the bottom. No one's responsible. You decided to put your boat on the reserve.
Stickers also help when they're stolen.
Yeah, very good. And also, if this is something else I had uncovered, if your boat does more than 5 miles an hour, you're supposed to, that is a boat that should absolutely, and is supposed to be by Department of Motor Vehicle law, be registered, because they always urge that you register your boats anyway with motor vehicles. But if your boat does more than 5, it's actually required to do so. And there's a couple pontoons that move out there,
Yeah.
so I'm curious. I would think anybody that has a nice multi-$1,000 pontoon is registering their vessel. It's not like a canoe or a john boat. So, but yeah, that's a good point. Stickers and registering your boat, your property is gonna help you recover it. 17, thank you. Boats found on reserved property without a permit sticker can be removed by the district board, then held on another district reserve in order to locate the owner. Do we need the in order to locate the owner, or are we okay with it? The reason for that, if we had discussed, for anybody that wasn't here, was that it was to give a resident an opportunity if maybe they weren't around or that blew loose and we collected it and they could come and lost and found it. Find it. Do we wanna? And another district reserve also left the interpretation open that it's brought here or it's put on another reserve, because we had discussed taking other reserves and maybe making them in the future storage areas for certain type of boats too, if we ever got to that. But that's nothing that we're gonna really
Well,
talk about yet.
I think that, if anytime we move, well, first of all, if it's an unregistered boat.
Mm.
How are you gonna find the owner?
Good point.
But, and then I think
Prove
if we leave it alone, saying basically unregistered boats can be removed. Cause if someone leaves a boat down reserve 2 and then you're gonna move it, let's say to reserve 5 or something. Okay, then who's gonna find out who the owner is and come get your boat? just let people know that if it's unregistered, it has no business being there and will be removed.
I now agree with Fred. I think we should take off the second line where it says then held on another district reserve in order to locate the owner. Does anybody else feel that,
that,
I'm okay with that.
get rid of it?
take it off.
So it will reread, boats found on the reserve property without a permit sticker can be removed by the district board.
Yep.
Cut and dry. 19. All right, this one I know is gonna happen, it's gonna start a discussion. This, and this, let me read it all out. All locks must be combination style so that the board may move the vessel if needed in an emergency. Lock combinations must be given to the board upon completion of the permit application. Otherwise, permission must be granted to the board to cut a non-combination style lock before a permit badge can be issued. Is that too complicated?
I mean, I don't think we need permission to cut a lock.
Correct. The law gives us the right to the authority to cut, so.
Permission is granted or must be granted.
Or just to expect to be cut. If we have the code, so the Reserve 2, for example, we had to have everybody move the boat and have it wait.
Mhm.
If something had to happen,
Mhm.
we can have it moved immediately if we had all the combinations.
Right.
The residents don't have to be bothered.
Yeah, that, so, and just so everybody who finally maybe watches this or never watches this, the rationale, and what Jason, I think we're saying is that the rationale for doing this was to make it easy so that you'd have to be involved, and most likely we would probably tell you that, hey, we had to move your boat because the fire department needed space to bring the truck in to rescue the kid. So that was one of
I
the
don't
reasons.
think we need permission. Yeah.
So how considerate are we
okay.
trying to be or not be to residents? That's my.
As the guy who does most of the paperwork on
Yep,
this,
yep,
my concern is, first, we're gonna be taking pictures and filing them. Then we're gonna, for every boat now is gonna have to have a combination.
mhm.
There's a lot of paperwork involved here.
Well, it should be just another spot on the form.
If they have a
Well, if it's
combination.
emergencies for a fire truck, we should just snap it anyways, because it's an emergency at that point.
Good point. I wanted a starting point on this. That's why I wanted to say, I wanted to take it to one end and see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, then we can.
Because I'm
cut it away.
seeing, you have a in-person thing here where you're gonna have a line out the door now with everybody changing over their stickers.
Mhm. Which
You're
was
gonna say,
inevitable.
okay, you're gonna have to send me a picture of this sticker being on your boat. Cause I'm not gonna go out to everybody's boat to take a look at it
Mhm.
when they put the sticker on it.
Mhm.
And I don't think Larry is either.
Mhm.
So this is gonna be a two-step process then.
Yeah, so we're
Okay,
gonna,
here's your sticker.
yep,
Now send me a picture
Mhm.
and a combination.
yes.
If you have a combo, but I guess the combo, that should just go.
It's
on the
going
What do you mean, if you have
But
a
it's not, but so
Not
Fred,
everybody's gonna have their boat locked.
so, correct, not everybody locks their boats.
That's true.
That is true.
I don't lock mine.
That's true.
Yeah. And that's true, not every, and you're not required, and there's nothing in the law, by the way, about whether you lock it or not.
Yeah.
It just says board has authority to move it. So obviously if it's locked, we're allowed to cut it.
Okay.
So, I get what you're saying. First of all, Fred, I wanna say this for everybody, you're not gonna be by yourself with this. This is something that we're going to come up with a whole new way
Yeah.
to deal with this. Because it is going to be a large undertaking. And it is, and
Tremendous,
it's, yeah, it's gonna be kind of an all hands on deck for a little bit, but I believe if we do it in bites, we do it in sections. This isn't gonna be ready by May 1st. This isn't probably even
Right.
gonna be completely done by the end of the summer. This, in my eyes, all along, is always going to take well over a year. But once it's done, we don't have to worry about expirations, and we also cover some of the
That
problems. that the
totally has
reserves-
my blessing. I think that's a fabulous idea. I'm just thinking of the initial changeover, and the more we make this thing complicated, first of all, you're gonna have, no matter what kind of policy you have, you're gonna have maybe 50%, if you're lucky,
They're not gonna bother.
they're not gonna bother doing this.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna have to retrace and
Mhm.
retrace and retrace.
Sure.
So it's a good starting point. But then as a board, we have to figure out the logistics of
Well,
it.
and that's where locking the reserves and having the blessing of the police forces and gaining their trust with
Yes.
this, they're a piece of this.
Yes.
Because if police don't respond, then there's gonna be
Well,
those that are just gonna go.
I
ham
think
after that.
locking the reserve will take care of the car issue. At least part of it. but that's not going to stop people from putting an unregistered boat.
Right, but the
On there.
patrol factor too, if the
Yes.
police are going to show up and look and go, where's the blue sticker? It's not there. Do they have a hanger? No, they don't. Summons.
Okay.
And if they don't issue summons, then it's true. A lot of this will fall apart.
I'm in favor of this whole thing. It's just a matter of
It's a heavy lift.
community
That's what we
follow-up.
call it.
Because it's do nothing or do this.
Yeah.
Are you concerned more about the initial setup or what's the long-term benefit of this?
Yeah,
Oh, the long-term benefit is all dependent.
In regards to this
It's all
specific issue.
dependent
of
on the police enforcing. All right, if there was a period of time where, I can only speak Cornwall, because that's the one I see all the time. Cornwall would come down, more times I've called them and there's been no response.
sure.
And you can't expect a small police force to worry about Beaver Dam Lake.
Right, correct.
So is it all saying that the data unused is worthless? Or a law that's not enforceable is useless?
And there's
But I'm
a
not
lot.
saying it's useless. I'm just saying that it all depends on enforcement.
You just gotta set the parameters and work
Yes.
forwards on it.
Yeah.
So Eileen on the board, also puts up, well, she's already just says, put the combination onto the form. Itself, we already bought our.
Leave it as
combo.
an option, as,
Put it on the application.
Well, and that's why, that's the reason
That's an
why
idea.
so that's sort of what I was
if
intending
you
when
don't
I.
want your chain cut and lock broken,
Give us
then
code.
give us the code.
Right, exactly, and that's why I put the otherwise permission must be granted to the board, meaning like on the application, you're gonna check that box, you're gonna sign it, because everything that on that form is going to be,
Right,
you have
right
to
on the
agree to
phone.
all of
Give us
this.
your combination.
So yeah, so that's why it said, if you allow, this could probably be written better. If you elect to use a non-combination padlock, then expect it to be cut, and
Right,
you're
so I
signing
don't
off
wanna-
on knowing.
I don't wanna have to file keys.
Oh, God, no. And I told you, that was the hard one. That was the last one.
Okay.
So, am I kinda, that this needs a rewrite?
A very minor rewrite,
Okay,
and then I'd say, if we're doing a January meeting, or
We'll
if
do
we
it.
wanna do some emergency meeting to just approve it, then fine.
I'm with that if need be. But I think the January meeting would suffice. I don't
I
think
prefer a sooner vote, cause my January's gonna be crazy.
daddy,
Unless I'm-
yeah. You know, you're right. You're
Hey,
gonna be sleeping on the
you
floor a
caused
lot.
the problem.
So-
Don't flip back
The
off.
remote meeting laws do allow me to be remote for those said reasons, because
Good point.
specific circumstances that I
Yes.
shall do
Good
these
point.
same duties.
Yeah,
Oh, the fun's going to be beginning, folks. The
Yeah,
fun is only
yeah.
starting.
yeah. So, all right, with that, we're almost there.
All right.
Believe it or not, it's only been 76 minutes. We didn't go over as much as I thought. I actually forgot to bring them. So here's a quick little picture again. That's what they look like. That's a printout from.
Yeah, it's a good shot, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. I had the real ones in hand and I meant to bring them. They're obviously bigger than that.
Eileen had one question, how will you enforce the
Thank you,
email
Larry.
requirement? Was that for sending in the photos of the applied sticker? Is that what you meant?
Right.
Yeah, it was either let us put the sticker on because you bring the boat here, which I know sounds crazy because we live here and who wants to put the boat on the back of their truck or car, but some people can do that. Some people can take their boat, their little kayak, throw it in the back of their pickup, come down to the sticker event. Fred, myself, you, we all go out, one of us goes out, done. That can be done. So the picture would be in place of, here's your sticker, we're trusting you to go home and go put this on. If you don't, we're going to revoke your sticker.
There
And
should be a checkbox in our file, so one more column in our tracker sheets.
And-
So once we get the picture, that it was got it, and whatever ones we don't got it in there, then you are,
So this is another time we gotta go back into the file.
yep, if you don't.
Happy for 800 families.
Hey, I'm not a spreadsheet guy either.
Heavy
Half
files.
of those.
Half of those, no.
You're welcome to give me a hand on.
I'm happy to.
Yes, yes.
So, and I think we
But
also have,
if we don't get the picture, then they're subject to giving that back and having those things revoked.
and in all
We'll
truth, most
discuss
people,
it.
if they come to, and they come, yeah, cause we can just keep going.
Yeah.
But like, if we have it, let's say we have an event. We give you the sticker, go put it on your boat. right now, like, send it to us, like, within an hour, like, it's, you live here, so. I don't know how unreasonable that is, but that's why we said 3, yeah,
You got a month to get.
so.
It's gonna happen.
I got you. So finally, on community events.
Go for it,
Real
community
quick,
events, part
I just have
11.
a couple of very fast things. I know we're running long, but for those who are interested, we will have Music by the Lake Holiday Concert. It'll be Sunday on 12/22 at 6 PM here at 557 Shore Drive. It'll be an inside event. We do have 50 chairs. We are going to have multiple people who are going to be performing. It won't be one person doing a concert. There are many people who have volunteered to come, and it's going to be a really great event. Please come out, open to all residents and escorted guests. There will be some snacks here, as we did have an incredible amount of donations that came in for our holiday event. Thank you, Eileen, by the way. She said she would help
I
out.
wanted to bring up one point.
Yes.
Good.
For the donations for the holiday event, did you get donations? I know some of us put stuff.
Donations.
That should have been a little bit more obvious.
Yeah, the can is the best that we can do unless we have somebody go out and panhandle. the
No, I don't
audience,
mean
so-
that. I don't mean
And we're
that.
not allowed to
Yeah,
have,
so
it's not a board function.
We received a very small amount of donations. Thankfully, we had a very nice carryover from a previous fundraiser that brought us well through that holiday without any of us having to dig too deep into our pockets. Many people have donated baked goods and stuff. Yes, we would love donations.
I don't
We
think most people even knew that donation
Yeah,
can
we
was
just
there.
don't solicit too much. I write it on the board over there. We hope that people will put funds in towards donations, but thankfully at this point, we're not in a crippled spot. We
And,
still have some.
and let me just protect you for a second.
Sure.
When Larry says we, he's speaking of we residents, not we board.
Right,
Because
right,
we
yes.
board do not put this on, we board do not.
right.
collect
The
money for it,
events
yeah.
committee
Exactly.
Yeah.
does have a little bit of funds, but we do, as the events committee appreciates anything that is donated towards the funds that are needed for these great community events, as they're all free, we never charge for them. We do have our fundraiser and annual food drive going. I am not spearheading this year. A resident has volunteered to do this and I appreciate it. Carrie, if you are not familiar with her, there is a post out there. So you can drop off your non-perishable goods at the Beaver Dam Lake Building at 557 Shore Drive in our waterproof bin. If you have cash or you would like to do a check donation, please contact me or Carrie, and we will come to your residence to pick it up so that you don't have to worry about it being stolen. Last thing, community menorah lighting on the 28th. That is going to be the third night of Hanukkah. That will be the 28th. Chabad of Orange County has helped us out and donated a very, very nice outdoor menorah. Last year's menorah, although we did a GoFundMe and raised some nice funds for it, these menorahs are extremely expensive. And the menorah we bought, although $500, did not meet our needs. And I wasn't able to make it through, but maybe night 3 with the lights, and it just kept burning out. It wasn't waterproof. It was so much rain. So we were helped out. One resident took the bull by the horns, contacted a rabbi. He got together some funds. She added some more funds and the funds from the returned menorah. We have a beautiful, larger electronically timed menorah. And we do have a rabbi coming at 7 PM on the 28th to do a community menorah lighting. We'll have a nice little ceremony in here with some latkes, jelly donuts, and a few traditional things. So please
It's awesome.
spread the word. We appreciate you all being involved, community-based. We just want everybody to be as, know your neighbors. Pretty important in today's day and age.
Is that menorah a loaner or that's
It's ours.
for the, it's gonna
in the
stay here?
office. Yes.
It's gonna stay here. Beautiful.
I have to keep it protected.
That's excellent.
So I assured them that it would be put away properly and up in the attic, but it's in the office. It's a beast.
See, once again, this is just an example of how so few can affect so many in positive ways. So this is a great thing.
Thank you.
And this is the time of year when I think a lot of people hope that we are gonna have this level of volunteerism and we've been getting it for the last couple of years and it's been quite cool to watch. whether personally I can even get to some of these things because my life is so busy on in and of itself, I haven't been able to come. Does anybody else have anything else for, let's see, we're now at that point, sorry, I'm coming apart a little bit.
That's okay.
Resident forum, so
Doing a
board
good
member
job.
comments,
Doing a good job.
Jason,
I'm good.
Chrissy-elect,
Um,
board member comments, no?
All good, thank you.
Okay, we're just gonna look in, just so you understand, there's a lot of things to juggle, a lot of balls in the air. And there's always a lot of balls in the air. And when we get to a new fiscal year, we also have to, look about shoring up the next budget for 2026. And also, we're going to start to see some of the things that we put into last year's budget actually come to fruition. I think the community is going to be quite surprised, if, as long as the vision of what will happen, at least at Reserve 4, comes to be aesthetically with the trees, the beach, the foot wash station, and maybe even a couple other small little additions and surprises.
And our lifeguards are coming back.
And yeah, that's true.
So man, that's gonna be good.
Yes, we have a lock on 4 out of the 5 lifeguards.
Beautiful.
The 5th lifeguard, I think, may be doing something else where he goes to college, so we'll see. But we're definitely gonna
Hopefully we
have
the
our
weather we had
core.
last year.
Yeah, we'll have our core, so in all intents and purposes, as long as the weather sticks, like you said, we could have a really great summer again, but that's a ways off. There's gonna be some upkeep coming down the pipe with this building, whether it's painting, floors, back door, we've had quotes for that to be replaced. Roof is a good quality. We've spoken about actually adding a front side porch and patio. I haven't spoken about that much, but I actually had a company come in and do a quote. Like kind of like a ranch style front porch to the short side of the building, looking at the lake. It would give the residents place out of the sun. When the thunderstorms come, the lifeguards won't have to only just grab umbrellas. They could even perch under there. And if we think about it, that porch is close enough to the lake where they could actually watch the bathers from there if they really had to.
Oh, I like it.
So it covers a couple things. So it's something that we want to look into, want to get prices right before we really speak more of it. And that's just at Reserve 4. Boat racks are going to continue to happen at the others. And we're going to keep trying to clean this place up and make things nice.
Very
So,
good.
okay, with that, motion to adjourn,
Bye.
second. All in favor?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
everybody.
Thank you.
That was not our longest. 1
Yeah,
hour,
you did it.
25
You
minutes.
did it.
All right.
I cannot speak that fast.
Yeah.